Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. There is a very intriguing light heavyweight battle on the undercard of the Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois matchup, the big Wembley Stadium bonanza. Joshua Buatsi fights Willy Hutchinson, and I think this is a very curious fight because I think it could be the one that really delivers on the night. I think it could be a very good blend of skill and aggression, and power and finesse, and if you look at the two fighters, I mean, at least on paper they have very similar records because Buatsi, he's 31 now. He's been around for quite a while. Former Olympian. Was he a bronze medalist? I think he was. 18 wins with 13 KOs, no draws, no defeats. Whereas Willy Hutchinson, 18 wins with 13 KOs, exactly the same. One defeat, a surprising defeat to Lennox Clark back in 2021 when he got knocked out in 5 rounds. But since then, he's moved up from super middle to light heavy, and he's done good work. I think he was against Martin Huben. That was a 2-round KO. Huben came in with quite a statistically good record anyway. And then, of course, there was the Craig Richards fight after that. Both of those were this year. The Richards fight was in June on the Riyadh card, and he won a 12-round decision over a guy who came in with an 18-3-1 record and had looked pretty decent. I mean, I think Spider Richards is a good fighter, and I've got to be honest, I thought he would beat Willy Hutchinson, but Spider was never at the races. Oh, I don't really know why. He is a kind of hot and cold fighter, isn't he, Spider Richards? I mean, he went the distance with Dimitri Bivol, and to be honest with you, he took a few rounds off him as well, I thought. 2 of the cards were quite close if you look at that fight. And then he goes and, loses to Buatsi, a 12-rounder. Okay, no shame in that either. Again, I thought Buatsi clearly won it. It was a unanimous decision, but he was definitely made to work by Spider. And then Spider Richards loses to Hutchinson. It was a surprise. I've got to be honest, that was a surprise. And at 34, you've got to wonder where Spider goes from here. It's a long way up the hill again. But for Willy Hutchinson, he was 8 years younger than Spider Richards. I mean, maybe it was a case of youth prevailing because now 26, Hutchinson, he's 6'1" tall. So he's tall, he's a decent sized light heavy. And he will be high off that Richards win because it was a very, very good performance by Hutchinson. That was on the 5 versus 5 where Warren whitewashed Hearn and Queensbury beat Matchroom 5-0. I mean, it was a terrible, terrible day for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. But if you look at Buatsi, he is also quite a big light heavyweight, 6'2", and he's coming off a win off against Dan Aziz, who they're quite good friends, but he floored Aziz twice in the 11th round and almost stopped him, but Aziz went the distance. That was for the British and Commonwealth titles. And that was back in February of this year. But before that, his career had sort of stop-started. He moved from matchroom to boxer. I mean, I mentioned he beat Craig Richards in 2022. In 2023, 10-round decision over Pavel Stepien. Is that his name? Stepien? It's not Stefan or Stepien, I think I can't remember. Anyway, he was expected to stop this guy, but it was a 10-round decision, but rather uninspired. And then the Aziz performance I thought was good. But if you go back to, I mean, Joshua Buatsi, at times he's looked like a bit of a killer. He did very well against Ricard Bolotniks, beat him up and stopped him in 11. And Bolotniks is a tough, crafty guy, good European level fighter. And he's smashed through people like, I mean, Marco Chalik, is that his name? I think he was undefeated back in 2020 when Buatsi beat him up, and I think he stopped him in 6 or 7 mid-round stoppage it was. And before that, he was fighting people like, Paraban was one of the opponents, for example. Liam Conroy at domestic level, British title fight that was. But he's never really gone on to really achieve what you would have expected him to have achieved by the age of 31, because he has got talent, and in the early stages of his career he appeared to have a lot of spite, and I think that's sort of been quite lacking in the more recent performances. He doesn't quite have that killer instinct that he did have, but he's still dangerous. He's heavy-handed. He's got a good engine, Buatsi. So is Hutchinson, actually. I mean, he boxed even late on. He sort of box fighting against Spider Richards, and he wasn't allowing himself to be bullied or manhandled at all. And yeah, he looked like his stamina was decent, too. So you're talking about two guys who've got a lot to offer, and you put them together, and the styles, the mixture of boxing and fighting. Now, there is a chance one could cancel the other out, but I've just got a feeling this might be a good fight. Might be one that slips under the radar. So how does it go? Thinking about this, I think Hutchinson will come out quite aggressively. He did the 12 rounds against Richards well, and I think he won't want to. He'll want to make a statement early on to Buatsi. You can't bully me. You can't intimidate me. I'm coming for you. I'm not walking away. I'm running towards you, not away from you. And I think he might start aggressively, which might suit Buatsi. I then think Buatsi will sort of put Hutchinson back in his box, so to speak. And then probably from about the third or fourth onwards, it'll become a bit more cat and mouse. I think that Richards has more power than Hutchinson. I mean, Hutchinson's defeat to Lennox Clark, it can be an aberration, and that a defeat like that, you can learn from it. And he's certainly come back very, very well. But of course, Lennox Clark doesn't hit as hard as Joshua Buatsi. Joshua Buatsi's got good power. I think if he hits Hutchinson cleanly, he'll hurt him. He might even floor him. I don't see Hutchinson rolling over, though. I think he's the younger man. He's been given, this fantastic opportunity. And the last time in Riyadh against Richards, he really grasped the opportunity with both hands. I think he'll be up for this one as well. I do think that Buatsi, by the way, I should point out, this is for the WBO interim light heavyweight title. I don't know why we need an interim light heavyweight title, because we all know who the WBO champ is. I'll give you a clue. It's either Dmitry Bivol or Artur Beterbiev. So you see if you can guess. But why we've got an interim title fight, I don't know. They drive me balmy, these bloody ruling bodies, the alphabet soup lot. They drive me absolutely nuts with these stupid belts they keep giving out, purely there for sanctioning fees. But yeah, getting back to the fight itself, I think Buatsi, heavier hands. Buatsi can be a little too conservative with his output. And if that's the case, I think he'll be forced to throw a lot of punches early, because, like I say, I think Hutchinson will come out quite aggressively, and Buatsi will have to put him, like I say, back in his box, keep him honest, as Teddy Atlas and a few others used to say. And I think Buatsi will be forced to sort of fight, which will suit him. He won't mind that. But if the fight was to slip into a more of a chess match, a boxing match in the middle rounds, I think Buatsi might slip into like a bad old habit, which is to not throw enough punches. And Hutchinson does throw a lot of punches. We saw that against Spider Richards. And it's possible in the middle rounds Buatsi could be outworked. Having said that, I think Buatsi's overall pedigree, weight of punch, I'm a little bit cautious about him. Like I say, not throwing enough punches for periods of the fight, and Hutchinson picking rounds up partially because of Buatsi's inactivity. But I see Buatsi in the final third of the fight probably turning the screws a bit. And if I have to pick a winner, I just feel with the overall pedigree, the overall schooling, I think Buatsi might edge this one by either a points decision or a late stoppage. I'll go for a late stoppage, 10th, 11th round. I think he'll stop Willy Hutchinson late. But I don't say that with any confidence. I'm really not sure about this one at all. This is why I find this fight intriguing, because I'm not really sure who's going to win. I make it a 60-40 for Buatsi, but when I think about it, and maybe I'm overthinking it, as we all do when we're trying to predict fights, especially if we put a few quid on it, I can see ways in which Hutchinson gives a too cautious, too low output Buatsi problems. But no, I'm going to stick with Buatsi. I think Buatsi stops Hutchinson late in the fight. So that's my prediction. You tell me what your prediction. Are you looking forward to the fight? Like I say, they could cancel each other out. It could be a dud, but I don't know. I don't think so. I've got a sneaking suspicion this is going to be a good fight. Anyway, put your comments below and I'll have a read as usual. And of course, thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. It takes a second, costs you nothing. Hit the subscribe button and also the like button as well, if you don't mind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And look after yourselves and bye for now.